next speaker is Reema Rasoul, and Reema is a candidate for US Congress from the 3rd District of New York. And she's also an entrepreneur, a human rights activist, and has had personal experience of working in Indian-occupied Kashmir. So we look forward to hearing her thoughts. Over to you, Reema.
Thank you all so much. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Thank you so much, Aisha, for having me. First, I really just want to say that I'm so honored to be here amongst all of you. The distinguished senator, thank you so much for your words. Of course, Assemblyman, thank you very, very much for all of your efforts in bringing Kashmir Day to New York. Kashmiri American Day. My friend Ali Rashid, who I know is a relentless fighter for the cause, and a very big reason that this happened. And I just want to say thank you to you here in front of everybody. As Her Excellency mentioned, I'm here in my personal capacity. I am a political candidate right now, but I'm here to talk about my own experience. I'm a New York-born Muslim American, but I do have Kashmiri heritage. And I was actually going to talk a little bit about what the brilliant senator spoke about, and that's a little bit about the effects on the economy for everyday people. As the senator mentioned, almost $6 billion in losses to the economy of Kashmir for the people. I would say, over 500 jobs. I personally was running a business at the time when August 5th came about. And I know for myself, my own work completely shut down because, as you can imagine, it's very difficult being an entrepreneur with no Wi-Fi and no cell service, right? This is an issue of humanity. As everyone has said, this is an issue of human rights. And every single human that lives on this earth has the right to live well, to raise their family in peace, to earn, to practice their faith, and to leave something better behind for their next generation. And I am a staunch supporter of everything that the distinguished assemblyman said. This is about human rights. It's not about politics. It's not about religion. Peaceful coexistence is absolutely necessary in the world that we live in now. But more than anything, peace, respect. Children should be able to go to school in peace and not afraid. Mothers should be able to count on their children coming home, right? I think that I personally am so grateful to all of you for always keeping Kashmir in your prayers, in your thoughts, and in your deeds. As we see that we have Kashmir Day here in New York, we're having this webinar because of the efforts of a lot of people on this call and the diaspora, Kashmiri Americans, Pakistani Americans. I'm just very thankful and grateful to all of you, to be honest. And I vow to you that I am very much a partner in fighting misinformation, disinformation. We need to protect our journalists. I think that we have to make sure that the history is out there and people understand exactly what the assemblyman was saying, what the senator was saying. I think if people have more awareness, and it's events like this that make that happen. And so again, I am so thankful to be here. I don't think that I can speak better than the senator or the assemblyman, and so I think I'm gonna keep it short, but in gratitude to all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Reema. Thank you. I think the main purpose, as we said earlier, of the webinar is to create awareness, to tell people that there's another side of the story as well, which I believe a lot of people don't get to hear or to know, because sometimes the mainstream media is not focused on it. But then we have now, thankfully, social media and so many other avenues through which stories and human rights violations or atrocities, wherever they are being committed in the world, can be highlighted more usefully, I would say, and not really depend on certain media outlets only. But thank you so much for your thoughts. And I will now request Ali Rashid to talk about grassroots advocacy and how Pakistani Americans in our diaspora can play a more effective role in highlighting the struggles and the real issues in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir in a very effective way, in which American Pakistani Advocacy Group was able to do so in terms of their work with the New York State Assembly and with other political organizations. Over to you, Ali. And thank you for joining us today.
Yes, Honorable Consul General Ayesha Ali, Senator Musharraf Hussain Saab, and my good friend, Assembly Member Nader Sage, and other distinguished guests on this panelist, Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. I would like to call myself an organizer, a strategist, or a policy advocate. My work in past couple of years has been dedicated to empowering people, who are suffering, occupied, and not getting their rights, be here in America, be here in Pakistan, or any part of the world. And the goal of this webinar, as everybody mentioned, is about awareness. It's not political. It's nothing to do with the country. It's about being a human being. It's about being a human rights that everybody and anybody in this country and everybody in this world, should have it. So, as for me, I'm a Pakistani American, and growing up in USA, I always cherish our heritage and remember the great things our forefathers have done to build Pakistan. We should always remember where we came from so that we continue to work together with unity. And remembering where we came from will also help us engage the causes that are dear to our community, that are dear to our people. And we should be proud of our heritage while being part of this melting pot. But as I grow up in this, I just want to talk about a little bit from the advocacy perspective and how APAC came to existence, and how this resolution was done, and how we should get youth involved in this whole process. So growing up, I always realized that we do a lot of celebration, we have good times, but when it's time of grief, time of sorrows, not a lot of people come in front. People tend to stay away, and for that, that's why we conceive American Pakistani Advocacy Group, to give a community a voice and a hand. And American Pakistani Advocacy Group is a grassroots organization that seeks to promote our ethnic identity and custom through civic engagement, educational resources, career opportunity, and personal advancements. We seek to uplift and honor the principle of democracy, freedom, and hard work, characteristic that makes us unconditionally American. We aspire to engage, empower, and elevate. We seek to engage our community by providing objective information. We empower by focusing on civic engagement and raising awareness to ensure equal representation. And we elevate through promotion of policy that seeks to uplift our communities. Our goals are very simple: to provide our community resources that they deserve and they need, encourage equal political representation, foster women and youth engagement, and advocate for human rights. Today, as everybody highlighted, my good friend, Assembly Member Nader Sage, and Senator Reema Rasoul, and Honorable Ayesha Ali, we are here to highlight the awareness and the cause of Kashmir and the struggle of our brothers and sisters of Kashmir and the human rights violation that is going on for decades. The Kashmir Solidarity Day, which is observed on February 5th, to express the struggle of Kashmiri people for their inalienable rights to self-determination, even under United States resolution. The human rights violation that being occurred on Kashmir since October 26, 1947, those human rights violations being put in high gear even further by the revocation of the Article 370, which stripped the region of all autonomy. Almost overnight, the people of Kashmir were forced to adapt to a way of life that did not democratically they agreed on. Over the past few years, Kashmiris have been the victim of mass deduction and restriction to communication. Even during the pandemic, the region has not seen any respite due to oppression. They were being denied PPE and other essentials to help cure and contain the spread of COVID. The revocation was a clear-cut violation of human rights. And forced occupation should never be tolerated. As a human being, we stand strong with any nation, group, religion, and people being occupied and targeted against their will. This is why we decided to speak up, and we have spoken up. We have led our efforts to give a voice to the Kashmiri people. We brought the concern to the doorstep of both local and federal officials, and we will continue to fight for the people of Kashmir. Through advocacy and organizing, we were able to unanimously approve with my friend, Assemblymember Nader Sage, February 5th, 2021 as Kashmir American Day in New York State Assembly. And this was done after years of advocacy and reaching out. And this was done making New York State the first state in the United States of America. This historic day marked an incredible achievement and monumental progress for our Kashmiri brothers and sisters. I would like to again especially thank Assemblymember Nader Sage for sponsoring this resolution, along with numerous co-sponsor assembly members. As Assemblymember states, the resolution states, and I'm going to quote that, the state of New York endeavors to champion human rights, including the freedom of religion, movement, and expression for all Kashmiri people. And I just want to point out that grassroots organizations speaking up, making your cases heard, it's the way to go. We need to make sure that we are here talking about it every single day. We are, whoever we meet, we are letting them know our concern, our issues. So that way they create more awareness, and that will create domino effect that will make sure that we can empower the Kashmiri people and the cause of Kashmir. Even though the system here are, kind of designed against us, we must not lose hope, as we must possess a power that can help change the status quo, the power of advocacy. And with that, I'm optimistic that the Pakistani and Kashmiri community can cement itself into the constitutional fabric of this great country. We need to continue to raise awareness of Kashmir. We must constantly speak up and advocate for our community and the right of self-determination for Kashmiri people. And one of the most important aspects that I would like to touch on is our youth. We need our youth, the next generation, to be actively involved. So what we could do is maybe make a difference. We grew up in here, so we could learn and adapt to the system here better. As the next generation, it is our responsibility to continue to promote a Pakistani agenda here in the States. One thing I would like to request anybody who's watching, who's going to be watching this later on, is the steps that we could take is to contact. You could start locally. You could talk to your council members. You could talk to your assembly members. You could talk to your state senators. And then even you could make an appointment to speak to your congressmen and tell them the issue of Kashmir. Write them a letter. You could get all this information online. Just Google it. If anybody needs help, they could reach out to us and we could guide them. The more people we could reach out, the more impact we have. There's a big, Pakistani and Kashmiri diaspora in New York, around tri-state. And we are working with other states to make sure that we could replicate what we did in New York in other states. And inshallah, we will make that happen. But the more people that could reach out to the local elected officials, it's all about having a dialogue, right? It's very simple, communication, open channels. And if it doesn't happen once, keep trying. You keep trying until you succeed. And trust me, it will happen. So I'll try to make sure all these people who are listening, make sure after today, you have Friday, reach out to your local elected official, write them a letter, write them an email, go make an appointment, meet them, and tell them about the cause of Kashmir. And that's how we can really empower the cause. And however it is important, we should maintain steadfast in our desire to overcome. And with that being said, I hope that you will consider APAC and the Pakistani Consulate as a resource and a platform for change, as we will continue to support the next generation of Pakistani advocates. We will continue to fight for the self-determination of Kashmiri people and keep raise voice to the highest place to make a difference. Thank you, Ayesha Ali, for joining me. And I would like to again thank my good friend, Assemblymember Nader Sage, who made history for this resolution that's never been done in any part of North America. So thank you again, Assemblymember Nader. Really appreciate that. And all these guest panelists, you guys have really, voiced the cause of Kashmir. Continue to do that. We will be with you, and we'll make sure we'll continue until self-determination, the rights of people, Kashmiri people, have been achieved. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ali. And I think very useful, very effective next steps to follow. And we have a lot of people watching this on Facebook, and I think your voice is reaching out to hundreds and thousands of people, including our youth. And whatever you've said about how to get in touch with your elected officials, I think that's something very important and that we need to keep reiterating and keep telling our youth and other audience. Thank you so much for your talk and for being a part of this webinar today. And may I now request Raja Razzaq, who is President of Pakistani American Think Tank, again, a community organizer and a person who has really worked extremely hard, not only since the last few years, but for decades, and has been really a strong pillar for the Pakistani and American and Pakistani and Kashmiri community, around which a lot of discussions have taken place and a lot of action has been proposed and many practical steps are being taken. Thank you, Raja Sahab, for being a part of our webinar, and over to you.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you so much, Madam Ayesha Ali, for having me. And it's good to hear Senator Saab and Honorable Assemblyman also. And thanks your effort, Ali Rashid. Please keep up this good work. Today we observing the Kashmir Solidarity Days, where we give through this day we give a message to Kashmiris living in Indian occupied side that we are standing with you till you get your goal, till you get the freedom from Indian occupation, inshallah, and that will day come very soon. The good development which I see nowadays at a diplomatic level, the news which we are hearing that Pakistan and India, they are trying to engage each other through the dialogue. I think that will be the best option to adopt, instead of fighting for decades as we did in last 74 years. And unfortunately, we did not achieve anything. So we should give chance to peace through dialogue. I think that's the way forward. And at the diplomatic, I always urge that diplomatically we need to increase our effort. We need to reach out to many friends around the globe, which you always doing it. And I'm sure our diplomatic team will keep doing it. I think that's the key point. And as far as we concern Pakistani Indian diaspora living overseas, we can highlight this issue through the protest and by organizing conferences, like this, and engage the friends like we are engaging right now, the Honorable Assemblyman. So we need to reach out to more people who can play a very vital role in this cause to get it done. And also, I think the way Ali Rashid is working in the New York, I suggest him, we need to also take this effort to Washington. I think Washington is the only place which will play a very, key role in this effort. I think we need to reach out to maximum congressmen and senators, and we need to engage them. We have to, I think the Kashmir issue is very well known throughout the world. So all we have to do is, if we reach out to them, convince them, and make them our voice, I think that will be the best option. So by saying that, I think that's about it. I like to hear other guests and keep up the good work. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Raja Saab, again for your very thoughtful suggestions and for taking the time out to be a part of this webinar.